Brand focused on teeth whitening and everyday oral wellness has raised 10 crore rupees from Mamaearth's parent company Honasa Consumer. With the investment, the brand plans to deepen R&D, expand its product portfolio and scale its digital presence across e-commerce and quick commerce platforms.
India's first digital data privacy law is now operational. The government has notified the rules under the Digital Personal Data Protection Act more than 2 years after it was passed by Parliament. Companies and stakeholders get 18 months to comply with the rules.
Bitcoin drops below the $100,000 mark, hitting a 6-month low. All cryptocurrencies are down over 15% in the last 1 month due to risk aversion and a sell-off in tech stocks.
Well, those were the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening. Let's start with the big story. India's first digital data privacy law is operational. The government has notified the rules under the Digital Personal Data Protection Act more than 2 years after it was passed by Parliament. Companies and stakeholders get 18 months to comply with the rules. Ashmit Kumar is here with more on the new rules. Ashmit, a landmark day for data privacy. Take us to the new rules and its implications for the public and the industry.
Well, indeed, a new era as far as data protection is concerned. You pointed out correctly, it's been a long wait, over 2 years, for these rules to be notified. 2023 is when the DPDP Act had been passed by the Parliament. But in terms of what the rules entail, well, I'll take you through them one by one. There's a lot to unpack. But firstly, as far as the implementation is concerned, the part of the rules that concern with the setting up of the Data Protection Board, which is the nodal regulatory agency, those parts of the rule come into effect immediately. But as far as the industry, the time that industry has been given to become compliant with various provisions and rules of the DPDP, well, those provisions of the rules will come into effect in a staggered fashion over 12 and then 18 months. So 18 months is what the industry has to basically make sure that they're fully compliant with the DPDP Act and the DPDP rules going forward. On data localization, this was a big watch point as far as the industry is concerned. And here is what is interesting as far as the rules are concerned. As a thumb rule, what has been given to understand is that personal data can be sent overseas for processing. There's a blacklist formula that will be followed, that certain blacklisted countries is where data cannot be sent. But for big tech players, that's your Googles, your Amazons, your Metas of the world, there's an additional conditionality that has now been imposed. The government says that a committee will tell these big tech companies what data sets cannot be sent overseas, irrespective of whether the country is in a blacklist or a whitelist. So that's another additional compliance that big tech players will have to look at. Speaking of the big tech players, they will also have to ensure a compliance audit. They will also have to audit their own algorithms to ensure that no harm is caused to the user. Furthermore, as far as consent mechanism is concerned, you and I, as persons, as data principals who will be giving their data to large companies or to smaller companies, we are liable. We now have a right under the DPDP rules to receive a notice from the company. The notice has to very clearly tell us what those individual pieces of data are, why that data is being procured, and importantly, a similar formula will then need to be adopted in case there's a data breach. You and I, as users, will need to be informed by the company immediately whether or not there's a data breach, what parts of data have been leaked, how it impacts me, and what measures I should undertake. And similarly, the companies will also be required to ensure that this information is then transmitted to the Data Protection Board within 72 hours. Another key aspect is that the government has been given the power to ask for any information from any entity when it comes to national security. So that's a wide power that the centre has. So clearly a lot to unpack, but clearly a new era as far as data protection is concerned, the rules being notified by the government.
A new era in data protection, right, Ashmit? Many thanks for taking us through those details. Now, moving on, sustainable investment giant Mirova has pumped $30 million into Varaha's regenerative agriculture project, its largest carbon transaction to date and its first in India. The Kheti project will support over 3 lakh smallholder farmers across Haryana and Punjab to adopt climate-friendly practices that boost soil health, cut emissions and generate high-quality carbon credits. With strong digital monitoring and deep on-ground execution, this partnership aims to make India a major hub for high-integrity, nature-based climate solutions. Joining me now to discuss this further is Madhur Jain, the MD and CEO of Varaha. Madhur, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, before we get into the fundraise, right, if you could sort of take us through what Varaha does, what's the gap in the market that you're solving for? Madhur, I think you're on mute there. If you could just unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me today on the show. So I mean, like most activities that humans do, agriculture also leads to emissions which go out into the atmosphere. In fact, agriculture leads to almost quarter of the total global emissions that happen each year, right? Which means that agriculture is also contributing towards the overall climate change that we are witnessing at the moment in terms of rise in temperatures, erratic rainfall, etc. Now, this change in weather patterns actually affects the smallholder farmers the most. And these smallholder farmers are actually responsible for producing almost 35% of the total food production for humanity across the globe. And hence, this dual nexus of climate change and smallholder farmers' yield being affected is a major problem from a food security point of view. However, the good thing is that there is scientific evidence of several decades of research which proves that agriculture can actually be a net sink for carbon, right? So if you do agricultural practices in the right set of manner, it can help not just reduce these emissions, but also sequester them through the
Sure.
agricultural interventions and practices. So that is where Varaha focuses upon.
Absolutely. And this is Mirova's largest ever carbon transaction, right? So what does this kind of scale of investment signal about global confidence in India's regenerative agricultural sector?
Yeah, no, of course. So see, if you look at what are the key ingredients for creating high quality carbon credits at scale, so it's basically the presence of high quality scientific and tech talent. Secondly, you need large amount of agricultural presence in the country. India has almost 400 million acres of agricultural land holdings. We have several cropping patterns. We are one of the largest producer of all the major cash as well as food crops, which we also export, not just consume internally. And so I think all of these ripe conditions in terms of talent, scientific data, evidence, agricultural land holdings, I think it's a culmination of all of those things, which allows a fund like Mirova to make such large investments in a country like India.
Right. And how will this, they've made this $30 million infusion into your project, right? So how will this sort of help Varaha work with these 337,000 smallholder farmers across Haryana and Punjab? What kind of a boost will this sort of give you?
So absolutely. So see, the good thing is that this project is already there on the ground. So it's not like we have to start from scratch. And these were the ingredients which allowed Mirova to take a bet on Varaha and our project in India. But I think with this boost, what it does is it allows us to train more and more number of farmers and reach the scale intended as part of this deal. It also allows us to double down on the tech and science platform, which can then deliver carbon credits with utmost confidence, integrity, and scientific rigor, which is required to create these credits. And then the third point is buying the machinery, which is actually required to perform these practices in a sustainable fashion on the ground, which then allows for carbon sequestration in the agricultural farms. So these are some of the key aspects towards which this financing will be utilized for.
Sure. And what kind of income uplift can farmers realistically expect through the revenue sharing model for high quality carbon credits?
Yeah, so see, there are two aspects to income, net income increase for the farmers. So one part is that Indian scientists have already showcased that by doing conservation agriculture / regenerative agricultural practices helps increase yield by 5 to 6%. It allows for reduction in agricultural inputs, which is again 4 to 5%. So even without carbon credits, performing these practices over a period of 5 to 7 years leads to an increase of overall 12% increase. Now, because of carbon credits, there is a further net income increase for the farmers in the region for almost 6 to 8%. So overall, the net PNL for the farmer, because of increase in income from agricultural production, reduction in cost, and then carbon credit being added to it, on a net basis increases by almost 20%, which is significant when you count the number of farmers this project is going to impact over the coming few years.
And the Kheti project is also expected to get CCB certification, right? So how does this help position India's carbon market on the global stage once this certification comes through?
Yeah, so see, when you talk about carbon credit, the key angle which is being explored is just climate, right? That how much impact you are causing to the climate positively and then quantifying it. But once you also add the second C and B to it, which is community and biodiversity, it allows for climate plus plus impact for these corporates which are actually buying these carbon credits. So if the income upliftment is happening for the farmers through this project, plus the inclusion of women farmers provides an added benefit that these companies are able to provide through these investments. So that comes under the community umbrella. Plus, by adding regenerative agricultural component, it also allows for increasing the microbial health, which is a good indicator of the biodiversity increase in the region because of these practices. So by
Absolutely.
taking these investment, you're able to account for several of these attributes as well, which makes India an ideal destination for these investments.
Sure. All right. So India is the right destination for these kinds of investments. All right, Madhur, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. And we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. Bye.
Well, moving on the hot seat today is the sector exploding with creator demand and long overdue for disruption. Music licensing platform Hoopr has opened its pre-Series A round at 160 crore rupee valuation, marking a 2x jump, backed by Inflection Point Ventures with 300% revenue growth this year, a fast-scaling AI-led product stack, and a catalog spanning Bollywood, regional and global music. Hoopr is betting big on building a world-class music licensing ecosystem from India for the world. Joining me now is Gaurav Dagaonkar, co-founder and CEO of Hoopr. Gaurav, welcome to Startup Street. Hoopr today services 30,000 plus creators and 180 plus B2B clients and has grown over 4x since inception and, like I mentioned, 300% this year. What have been the key growth levers and where are you seeing the strongest demand? Brands, agencies or digital first creators?
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on Startup Street. You're right. India has witnessed a massive boom in content creation and especially in the realm of commercial videos. So today, apart from individuals who are influencers, we're also seeing brands make about 5 to sometimes even 50 videos a day, and MNCs making about 10 to 20,000 videos a year. Now, what happened historically was that when you needed to create a commercial video, you needed a music license from a label, a publisher, and a copyright society. We recognize this gap and we've built a marketplace where labels and artists can list their music and can download a license and use it without any legal hassles. Our biggest growth has been in the space of B2B because we are seeing over 80,000 brands create close to 40,000 videos a day. And we feel that India is poised to sort of increase its content creation by almost 3 to 4x in the next 2 years.
Okay.
With AI now coming into the picture.
All right. Gaurav, you've raised 4 crore rupees in the first tranche and are in advanced talks for more. What's the overall target for this round and how will this capital extend your runway?
So we launched a new product called Hoopr Smash,
Yes.
which has Bollywood and trending songs. And this round was mainly to launch Hoopr Smash, market it, which we already have done. In fact, the round has been slightly oversubscribed. The business has been growing at a 3x, 4x increase in revenue year on year. We also have strong unit economics in that we keep a commission and pass on the rest to the artists. So right now we are looking to become profitable this year itself with a strong demand from labels and artists. And that is the plan as we go forward.
Sure. Gaurav, India's creator economy is exploding, but so are copyright issues. With AI-generated audio on the rise, how is Hoopr ensuring brand safety, copyright compliance, and most importantly, fair payouts to creators?
Well, with AI-generated music, first of all, it itself is trained on music that they have not licensed. So sometimes there's a gray area in using it for commercial content. With Hoopr, we are now backing labels and artists. We've made their music accessible to brands and influencers to use in a legal manner. And it's a very simple model where a label, like we've got Yashraj Films that has listed its music on Hoopr Smash, and we've got over 180 brands that are licensing music. The platform keeps a commission and passes the rest in a very transparent manner to the label. For brands, what is really important here is the fact that they're getting trending music. So that increases their engagement, sometimes up to 10x or even 15x on the videos that they create. There's higher engagement. And most importantly, there's copyright safety.
Yes.
We've seen a spate of lawsuits against brands by record labels. And hopefully that will come to an end as these brands start licensing music in a legally compliant manner.
Okay, Hoopr has worked with 300 plus independent artists and disbursed 4.5 crores in royalties. How are you re-architecting payouts and transparency in an industry known for opacity, and from auto-tagging and copyright detection to content gen tools? If you could tell us which AI features are actually moving the needle on monetization and compliance.
Sure. Before starting Hoopr, after I graduated from IIM Ahmedabad, I was an artist for a for a good period of time. And empirically, it's been one of the most opaque industries. I've seen that opacity myself. And coming from an engineering background, I decided to add a layer of tech and make it transparent. That's what Hoopr has done. The entire model is based on a fair, real-time, transparent payout to artists and labels. And when we look at AI as a part of our tech stack, I think what most clients today want is better recommendations. So if you're a brand from the South, or if you're a brand that's into fashion, what kind of music should you use? So at one level, the platform Hoopr and Hoopr Smash, we're able to recommend the right music for brands. So we have our own AI tagging methodology. Not only that, we've gone one step ahead, and we're actually able to even tell you what video script should you create, what video should you create with the song in order to get higher engagement. Finally, the last leg of AI enables us to acquire the right kind of music which will serve our brands and influencers better.
Sure. Gaurav, you're also closely collaborating with the Indian Performing Rights Society, or IPRS. Is India finally moving towards real-time tech-enabled royalty distribution?
Of course, I'd like to think so. At the same time, there's a lot of awareness building that we need to do both on the artist and label side as well as the brand side. With the IPRS, I think it was just a natural extension of what we do, because ultimately all of us are on the same side, that music should be used by brands, by content studios, but in a fair and ethical manner. So now with the partnership that we have with the IPRS, once a brand procures a license, they don't need to go to multiple players. Every player, be it the label, the publisher, the artist, the IPRS, gets paid out in an all-inclusive manner. And I think it's a landmark partnership that we've done with the IPRS. Yes, it's about time that India, being the global HubSpot, probably one of the largest countries, creating content, sets a standard at a global level that music is being used ethically and fairly in this country.
Okay, on that note, Gaurav, I'll have to wrap up our discussion. We've completely run out of time. But many thanks for joining us on Startup Street, and wish you the very best for all your expansion plans.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here.
On that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. But coming up next, Salesforce debuts its first ever Agentforce city at Dreamforce, a live showcase of how AI agents could transform work. We show you how it works on the other side. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Startup Street. Salesforce has unveiled its first ever Agentforce City at Dreamforce, a live showcase of how AI agents could transform work. Global brands like PepsiCo, Pandora and Williams-Sonoma are already testing it. CNBC-TV18's Aishwarya Anand brings this report from San Francisco. Take a look.
We're here at Dreamforce 2025 and Salesforce has built something entirely new this year. It is what they are calling the Agentforce City. So what does it entail? Well, take a tour with me and let's find that out together. It is not just the showcase of products. It is a full-scale demo of what the company believes could be the next big shift in enterprise software. Workplaces powered by AI agents, which can reason, act, and work alongside people. The centerpiece of this is Agentforce 360, a platform that is designed to help businesses build and deploy their own intelligent agents, the ones that can help process data, automate end-to-end small businesses, and even draft content.
And this vision extends beyond dashboards. Slack is being redesigned as the operational hub where these AI agents live, collaborate, and execute tasks alongside human teams.
On this floor, companies like Pandora, PepsiCo, Williams-Sonoma are showing that they're already experimenting with the AI agents, whether that is to reimagine customer experience, supply chain efficiencies, or service automation. Well, we spoke to a couple of them to understand what's working, what's the hype, and what would the day-to-day changes in the business would look like. So let's go and find that out.
For PepsiCo, AI is becoming a connective layer across markets, helping teams bring together data across regions while keeping experiences local.
We operate in over 200 countries, which is complex, and I think answers to your question, over $90 billion worth of sales. We have over $23 billion brands, and daily we reach over 1 billion consumers. And in order to deliver what our customers expect, so that they in turn can deliver what their consumers and our consumers expect, we need to make sure that we are personalized. So the first step is taking a look internally and taking a look at all the data that we have globally and then also localized, and understanding how much of that can be a lift and shift model and how much shouldn't. And we determined what that right balance is. And when our partnership with Salesforce, they are able to offer us a solution that solves the 80% of the instances that we can then leverage across, but then 20% of the time, we know where we need to be local on that local information, and how do we take that with all of the customer records, that is Customer 360, which is the unlock, and then how do we bring that to life in a personal way.
Pandora is using AI to solve one of the retail's hardest problems, helping customers choose from thousands of products in highly emotional purchase moments like gifting.
We're super happy to be presenting here Gemma, our first agent that's exactly helping that online. And we are all about gifting. Gemma is helping us exactly with that, to really narrow down what are the best options. Pandora has more than thousands of options for them.
The company is also using agents to manage holiday spikes, especially customer queries around orders.
So the other agent that we are very proud to speak about is Clara. Clara is already, Gemma is in test in Australia. Clara is already at full deployment in US and in Europe. And Clara is helping us on the customer service side. The deployment of Clara already helped us to increase NPS for Pandora more than 10%.
Williams-Sonoma handles thousands of real-world service cases daily, from furniture deliveries to complex product issues, making it an early adopter of agentic service workflows.
This isn't just about automating the customer service interaction, that is part of this, but this is also infusing AI into the human experience, where our human customer service agents that are handling very complex customer service scenarios, a lot of it around furniture delivery, like very complex real-life problems, they're more efficient, they're more effective, they are faster when we are putting this technology in their hands. So we're seeing really, really compelling results.
For Williams-Sonoma, agents are also stepping into creative roles, connecting recipes, products, and entertainment.
Just a few days ago, launched Olive, our Williams-Sonoma sous chef agent. And this agent is able to connect the dots between product, recipes, entertaining, education, And ultimately, it's there to help our customers, not just about let's find you a product, but if you're hosting Thanksgiving, for example, at your house, or you have a dinner party, how do we help you pick the menu? How do we help you with culinary skills? How do we help you across the board? This is what these agents do, and we launched that in less than 30 days in partnership with Salesforce.
As we walk through Agentforce City, what stands out isn't just technology, but the scale of ambition. Salesforce is betting that the workforce going forward is going to be built on autonomous and trustworthy AI agents. But the real test is going to be to see how fastly and responsibly do companies actually convert this mission into actionable outcomes. From Dreamforce 2025 in San Francisco, with camera person Saroj Singh, Aishwarya Anand for CNBC-TV18.
It is Friday and it's time to take stock of all the deals that took place in the startup world. This week saw a total of 24 deals valued at $152 million, according to Venture Intelligence. Some of the notable deals included software provider for construction industry, Attentive.ai, raising $30 million from Insight Venture Partners, Vertex, Tenacity Ventures, and InfoEdge. Climate tech company Varaha raises $30 million from Mirova, while Tita College of Business raises $18 million from Owl Ventures and Bertelsmann India Investments. That's not all. Low-cost flight operator Star Air raises $16.91 million in a Series B funding round. Bombay Shaving Company bagged $15.34 million from Sixth Sense Ventures and others. According to Venture Intelligence, this year has seen a total of 819 deals worth $8.4 billion.
And with that, it's a wrap from Arundhati and me, Shruti, on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.